Got my police t-shirt. That was
And,
one a viewer sent me.
and it looks very nice on you, Norm.
I love it. And look at you in salmon pink. We're
We're,
almost coordinated.
we try our best, don't we, Norm?
We certainly do. Big production value here. So we're going to talk about home selling for retirement, downsizing, and the lessons that we've learned from doing that, or the lessons we haven't learned from doing that. You be the judge. So selling a house, selling a home is one of the most stressful occupations that anybody can have. It really is. It upsets the whole of your life, and we've certainly felt the stress of doing that. So what we tended to do, we decided to downsize, move from a house to an apartment, and we did this downsizing while we were young in retirement. We didn't want to be 80 years old downsizing to help our children out. So Tina and I, we were 60 and 58 when we did our first major downsizing.
And I think we would highly recommend that you do it while you still are at that age where not only the physical side of it, but just the mental capacity of struggling to take all these things, which, as Norm said, is a huge stressful thing, isn't it?
And we had an unfair advantage in doing this downsizing because we had already emigrated from England to Canada when I was 38 and Tina was 36. So we went through that downsizing because none of our electrical items, record players, whatever, computers, would work in Canada because the electricity supply was different. We also felt that we couldn't bring our furniture because honestly it wasn't worth the cost of having it exported. So we got rid of a lot of stuff in England and ended up just bringing a quarter of a container of possessions with us. So yes, we've been through the downsizing before, but nothing quite prepared us for this downsizing, did it, Tina?
No. And so, as Norm says, although we had a dry run at it when we were a lot younger, we perhaps just hadn't realized just how much stuff we had accumulated in our home that we'd lived in for over 20 years. And we're not just talking furniture, we're talking everywhere was wardrobes full of clothes, boxes full of stuff, and a biggest one was the basement, Norm.
I know, it was out of control.
The basement, like if there wasn't anywhere upstairs where things could go, it all went down in the basement. And to this day, I still don't know how we managed to actually clear that basement of stuff.
That was the stressful part about it.
Yes,
and you
it
have to
was.
remember that we raised a family
Yeah.
in the house as well, so we had all that additional stuff as well to contend with. So once the house was listed, we started downsizing immediately because there are stuff you can do without. You don't need it just as you're selling your house. But selling a house, generally, it's going to go quickly, especially if you price it right. So you really need to start right from day one of listing to get downsizing. And there's one little trick that we learned quite early on, and that is to take a box and put a whole bunch of stuff in there that you feel as though you could live without, and then seal it up, leave it there for a couple of months. And did you ever have to open the box to get anything out of it? And if you didn't, then the professional downsizers will say, throw the box.
Yeah, in reality, that doesn't really work, does it, Norm? Or perhaps we should have used that theory a lot more because I think, as Norm says, it's the period of time when the house had gone up for sale and we were doing this all the time, weren't we? downsizing, trying to sell the stuff. And we never stopped doing it all the time, didn't
No.
we?
But we sat down and were quite realistic. We knew we were coming to an apartment, and we knew the size of the apartment. So we had things like very large dining room table with about 8 chairs as well. It would never fit in the apartment, in the dining space for the apartment. So that was something that we sold. And we were able to list that. It was a brand name in Canada, so people knew about it. And that sold pretty quickly. And we were able to make an arrangement with the buyer that they would pick it up a couple of weeks before the closing of the sale of our house. So people will work with you. But we were using everything, Kijiji to advertise. We were donating stuff as well to Goodwill, to
Salvation
Salvation
Army
Army.
and Goodwill. And we were selling quite a bit at the time on Facebook, weren't we?
Right.
And we did quite well with that, didn't we?
But Facebook Marketplace has become a bit of a scam area, and we're finding it harder and harder to sell stuff successfully on Facebook Marketplace because you do get these scams. As soon as you list something, they come right onto you. So it's not quite as easy as it used to be. And we're getting to the point of view is rather than taking the risk of meeting people coming to our home to buy stuff, we're starting to think it's more beneficial to donate it and not have that interaction of strangers.
And we made some big decisions too, like we had a couple of very large leather chairs, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we sold those because we knew that they would look too big. And we had a couple of smaller ones, so we brought those with the sofa.
That's because we had two lounges,
Lounges.
sitting rooms in
Yeah.
our house.
So we brought those. And it was strange, really, wasn't it, Norm? Because firstly, we had this idea because we're moving to a new place. We should get all new furniture, didn't we?
We did,
We
yeah,
did
to
have
try
that
and to
idea.
try and make it special and designer.
Sort of moving into a new chapter of our life. And then when we started looking at pricing of everything, we thought, man, this is going to cost us like 15, 20 grand to like buy all new stuff. So we had to rethink it, didn't we?
So we brought the
Yeah.
sofa
Yeah.
with us. It was a large sofa,
Yeah.
but it did fit the space in our apartment. As Tina said, we got rid of the two matching armchairs for the sofa because they were just too big a scale. And we did have a couple of smaller leather chairs that we had in our front room. So we did bring the beds.
Yeah.
That was a no-brainer. We brought all the bedroom furniture, the chest of drawers, and they really worked out well in the new apartment.
They work perfectly, don't they?
But things
Yeah.
like oriental rugs that we had,
Oh,
they
yeah.
they just wouldn't work in the apartment. So and massive mirrors on the wall that we had, like a beautiful gold plated mirror. We got rid of that as well. So we came into the apartment with a lot less stuff than we had because one of the things about moving is you're going to end up paying for professional movers to move all the stuff that potentially you're going to throw away or sell.
Yeah, that was something that we probably at the time didn't realize, did we? That
No.
everything that we kept, that we said we're going to move, we filled a huge moving truck, didn't we?
We did.
And then we filled 2 cars as well, didn't we?
Yeah, big
like-
SUV with
yeah,
stuff.
And it was quite amazing just how much. But we did learn too that, for example, the emotional attachment, we brought a bureau with us, didn't we? That was my grandparents'.
Yeah.
And I found it emotionally, thought I couldn't really get rid of it. But when we brought it with us, it didn't work in the apartment, did
No.
it? So we got rid of that.
Sold it to an antique dealer who came and took it away.
Yes.
And those are difficult things because it has close personal family connections. But the thing is, you need to be start getting ruthless about the stuff that you have. Because if you don't get rid of it, you're leaving it for your children to have to get rid of it for you. And do you really want to inflict that on them?
No.
And so we just feel good that when we get rid of stuff that we don't use, we've got closets full of stuff that we don't need.
I know. And it's an ongoing process, isn't it?
It is.
Just because you move somewhere and you bring all this stuff, then we're constantly getting rid and adjusting and getting rid of stuff, aren't we?
We are. And your tastes change over time as well. We're very much, we're oddities, I suppose, in North America, because when we came here in 92, we were used to IKEA furniture. We had all modern furniture in England, very European. And so we were buying that when we came here as well.
And another nice thing that we bought since we moved here is we bought a lovely fireplace, haven't we?
We have.
And
electric fireplace.
And it's great, isn't it? We love it. And the TV sits on top. And so your ideas do change, but it goes great with our other IKEA units, doesn't it?
It does indeed. So that's all that we're saying, is that downsizing isn't a one-time event. Don't view it as a one-time event, because it's difficult mentally to let go of stuff. So do it small bits at a time, but it'll be ongoing, and it might take 5 years for you to downsize.
Absolutely, totally agree. And, if we're being really honest, we still have lots of the totes, don't we, Norm?
And that's primarily my fault, because I'm just a hoarder. I know that. It's a disease. I've got record collections. I've got collections of model cars. I've got collections of cameras. So what does Tina collect?
How about Skechers shoes?
She does.
I have lots of Skechers shoes. I love them and I keep buying them. But when they really wear out, Norm, I throw them away.
Throw them down the chute. We have a garbage chute.
Oh, yeah, which is great. But, silly as it is, LPs and all that, it is hard to get rid of them. It's just this emotional attachment.
Yeah.
And, all credit to you guys. If you can be more detached with the decision of getting rid of things, then that's good. We found it very difficult, didn't we?
Even with the amount of things that we got rid of, it's very satisfying. It's freeing.
Yeah.
When you get rid of clutter,
Yeah.
it makes your mind far clearer and
You think better, I think, don't you?
absolutely
Yeah.
we do. And it's like you're losing a weight as well. So yeah, if you're going to retire in place, you should still consider downsizing, because I'm sure that you've got a lifetime worth of treasures that you don't really need.
Absolutely, because not everybody moves when they retire,
No.
Norm. Some people just decide to stay in their house. But that same mental process of getting rid of stuff, we think would make you feel a lot better too.
So that's selling our home to retire, and the lessons we learned, and maybe the lessons we haven't learned.
Or maybe you could say we're still learning, hey, Norm?
Every day's a day to learn, especially married to Tina. So we hope everybody's keeping well.
And staying safe.
And until the next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.